What if Green Lantern wasn't about cosmic space battles, but instead was a cozy little mystery set right here on Earth? Today, we're going to talk about everything we know about the upcoming Max series Lanterns. And it's a big deal because even though it may start as a smaller scale, grounded little detective show, it's not a standalone story. It's a key part of James Gunn's vision for the DCU. It's going to lay the groundwork for something bigger, and I'm excited to see what it is. So Gunn has said it is a terrestrial-based TV show, almost like True Detective, with a couple of Green Lanterns who are space cops watching over Precinct Earth. In it, they discover a terrifying mystery that ties into our larger story of the DCU. Lanterns will focus on two of the Green Lantern Corps' most iconic members, Hal Jordan and John Stewart, no Kyle Rayner unfortunately, as they investigate a murder in the heartland of America. It's going to be that kind of HBO style show that we have, a lot of us really like. It seemed to work well for the Penguin to take that more traditional drama type of approach. So it's going to trade those space battles and space operatic type storylines for Earth-based intrigue. And some fans are excited. I would say that's me. I'm excited. Others are maybe still excited, but also worried that it could lose its epic feel because it doesn't have that cosmic scope. Well, or I should say, it doesn't seem like it's going to have that cosmic scope. At this point, we don't really know that much about it. And here's the thing. Gunn said it. It's not just some small scale story for TV. It's not going to be a self-contained thing. It's going to be tied to the larger DC universe, which means that it's a stepping stone to the kind of universe-spanning adventures that we're going to see elsewhere in the DC universe. So Gunn and Peter Safran, who are co-CEOs of DC Studios, they released a statement saying John Stewart and Hal Jordan are two of DC's most compelling characters, and Lantern brings them to life in an original detective story that is a foundational part of the unified DCU we're launching next summer with Superman. So it's not just some gritty cop show with no ties to anything extraordinary and out there in that comic book sort of way that we expect from a comic book show. And Gunn's got a great team working on it. He's got Chris Mundy, who did Ozark, Criminal Minds. He's going to be the showrunner and a co-writer. Damon Lindelof, known for Watchmen and The Leftovers, is going to be a co-writer. Then Tom King, who you may or may not, I know he can be maybe a bit controversial, has some people who don't love him, but he does have a deep understanding of DC and their comics, and he will be there to hopefully keep things somewhat comics accurate. I think that obviously that there's a scale on kind of how much you want to hew to the existing stories. Then James Hawes, he's a guy, he's directed some episodes of Slow Horses. I don't know if you've seen that. I haven't seen it. I've heard good things about it. It's a spy show. Then you got Black Mirror, which that, to me, that's the most cool. Like, okay, a Black Mirror feel could be interesting. And also Snowpiercer, the show, not the movie. He's directed episodes of all of those, and he's going to direct the first two episodes of Lanterns. So we'll get off to a good start, I think. And who's in it? Aaron Pierre of Rebel Ridge is going to be John Stewart, the former Marine turned Green Lantern. Fans of the Justice League, the animated series, and John Stewart fans in general are going to be excited to see him finally get his live action moment, other than that little bit we saw that ended up on the cutting room floor from the Snyderverse. Then Kyle Chandler, known for the TV version of Friday Night Lights, is going to play Hal Jordan. So Chandler, he's going to be like a seasoned veteran Hal Jordan, and fans, some of them, Hal Jordan fans, they're worried that he's going to be so old that he's not going to have much of a role in the DCU. And they're worried either he's going to die or he's going to be the big bad guy, be Parallax. It could be both. In a little bit, I'm going to talk to you about who I think the bad guy is really going to be and who I hope it's going to be. I don't think that we have to worry about seeing Parallax. So whatever is going to happen, I do think that that's going to be a cool dynamic. The veteran space cop, the rookie space cop, that's going to be a good layer to have that. I don't know exactly how they're going to play it. I don't know if, are they going to do like the comics? Is Hal going to be kind of his cocky self? I don't know. He's old now. Maybe that's going to have an effect. There also are a lot of original characters being created for the show. There's Carrie, the sheriff, and Zoe, who we don't know much about. They talk about her being able to like rub shoulders with her, stand as tall as other influential men or something. So I don't know if she's going to be some kind of like it's in the Heartland, so I can't imagine she's some socialite. Maybe she's a prominent figure in the town. They're saying that she may end up being a love interest for John. Some fans are disappointed at the absence of some of the key Green Lantern figures that we know and love, like Carol Ferris, Sinestro, Kilowog. But who's to say they won't be announced later? Although it is hard to imagine Kilowog hanging out on a farm or something out in Iowa or wherever they end up. But the other thing is, maybe they're not here in the show, but that doesn't mean they couldn't be in a Green Lantern movie or, in other movies. And finally, there is a character named William Macon, who is the most interesting one. He is maybe an all-new character, maybe not. He's described as a modern cowboy who's a self-righteous, conspiracy-minded man who masks his ruthless ambition behind a charming and calculated facade. Now, this True Detective feel, it's going to be a big departure from those normal intergalactic adventures we're used to from Green Lantern, but it's hard to imagine a Green Lantern story staying earthbound forever. So maybe this murder investigation leads Hal and John to uncover some larger cosmic threat. Maybe even a villain like Black Hand, somebody who could tie into the emotional spectrum and the Black Lanterns. Gunn's DCU is all about creating this unified universe, and so maybe the Lanterns show is going to be what really unlocks the Green Lantern Corps' scale of that cosmic scale in future projects. There's speculation that William Macon could be an adaptation of William Hand, also known as the Black Hand. And in my opinion, it would be awesome if the Blackest Night storyline played a big role in this first phase of Gunn's DCU. If it's that, or even really, that makes it pretty easy to see how, if they are potentially meeting the threat that's going to be one of the maybe driving antagonists for the first part of the DCU, then I just don't see how we would have anything to worry about as far as the scale. Reactions to Lanterns have been mixed. A lot of people are excited about seeing a grounded mystery and seeing the focus on Hal and John's partnership. A lot of people love the Penguin and the treatment that it got, and so they're thinking that could be good to see that with the Green Lantern Corps. Some are concerned there's don't seem to be a lot of classic characters, and again, there's that shift away from the cosmic storytelling, and a lot of people point to the Penguin as an example of what they're worried will happen with Lanterns, because the Penguin didn't really seem like a comic book show, and that doesn't mean it wasn't a good show. It just didn't really seem like a comic book show. They're like changing his name from Cobblepot just because they think it sounds too silly, so they're trying to like make it so serious that it doesn't even really seem like, what's the point of even making it a comic book story? Why not just come up with your own little world and your own characters? Of course, you wouldn't have the built-in audience. That's why. And it does tie into the Batman too. I think that fans worried about losing that cosmic feel of Green Lantern and losing the comic book feel should remember that there is a key difference between these two shows that we've talked about multiple times, and it's that Lanterns is tied directly to the larger DCU. That means the Earth-based focus is not the end point. It's a launch pad for bigger stories. And if you think about it, like the small screen, it's suited to these more maybe character-driven or smaller scale stories. Then you bring out the big guns for a Green Lantern movie at some point, hopefully not too far in the future. And if Hal's old, I wonder, are they going to do the Parallax story at all? I guess what I'm really wondering is, when's my dude Kyle coming? When's he going to show up? What do you think? Are you ready to see a new side of Green Lantern, or do you think this approach misses the mark? Do you share some of these concerns that some fans have? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll be covering all the major DCU releases, and if they have any minor ones, I guess I'll probably talk about those too.